Swiss rolls in the EU, but they come with warning labels advising parents of the potential dangers to kids.
It's basically like
Cigarettes.
just like cigarettes.
No, Special K is the cereal that I eat.
When you hear the words banned breakfast cereal, is there anything more American than Coca-Cola?
No.
The fizz,
Not really.
the flavor.
Okay.
Bread.
Enriched flavor or whatever. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steven, accompanied by Queen Taylor, and we're new parents. And one of the things that you realize as a new parent is how much our food sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were just looking up purees for our baby, and turns out like you can't use any of the Gerber stuff, which is like the biggest brand in purees in America, but it's like high in lead and metals and stuff like that. So we're organically creating these purees. And then that got me thinking, well, okay, what else are we eating on a day-to-day basis that is just shit?
Mm-hmm.
So came across this video, American foods that are banned in other countries. I'm curious as to why, and if that's something that we're doing.
Because it's got terrible stuff. American foods just have terrible things in them.
They don't even care. It's like being in the army and just eating all this crap and being exposed to all this stuff. But I digress. Yeah, this is like a kind of an eye-opening, awakening thing for us. This is a video for us, you guys.
Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoy it. American foods that are banned in other countries, you guys. Let's hop on over the video and let's learn something.
Most Americans want to believe that the United States is the gold standard of clean food. But that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals, countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be
I love that video of that kid.
USDA approved. That's right. This week we're talking about American foods that have been banned by other countries. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. Then
Yeah, so real quick, before we even get started,
Oh, God.
what do you think is a banned food?
God, I think there's going to be a huge list. I think a lot of cereals are going to be banned,
Okay.
and or maybe not necessarily banned. They might have something similar that just doesn't have all the crap that ours has in it. I feel like American cheese is something that maybe is not in other countries just because it's like so processed. And I've seen videos before of people trying to light it on fire and it doesn't even like melt or anything. It's basically like plastic.
Oh, God.
I feel like they're just much healthier. I think most things, like we've got so many dyes and chemicals and stuff in our food. I feel like there's going to be a lot.
So for me, I watched this thing about like our meat, our beef and cows, and basically the requirements to be considered organic. It's like, oh my God.
Ugh.
So basically, if you feed a cow grass, it's organic, USDA organic, but it's wild to me. Like, that's all it takes to get that label on your meat products.
That's insane.
Okay. All right, guys.
leave a comment and tell us what other world food facts you would like to know more about. Now let's see how wrong the rest of the world really is.
Skittles for the dyes?
Since the dawn of Skittles, there have been rumors about the dangers of eating them. Every one of us heard at least one classmate claim that the red ones make you sterile, and the yellow ones, they give you cancer.
Red
Turns
dye is
out,
supposed to be one of the
It
worst.
might be worse than that. First of all, your classmate wasn't wrong. The dyes known as Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 have been linked to hives and hyperactivity in children.
Wow.
Sweden
Hives.
and Norway have banned the candy.
So since having a child, I've actually read a lot about like dyes and stuff like that,
Mhm.
which is partially why we were like really interested in doing this, because like not only do we want to eat better and have less chemicals in our food, but it's very important for me that our child does not have this terrible stuff. So I've been doing a lot of research on dyes and stuff, and red dye is supposedly one of the worst. So I actually joined a Facebook group that is like dye free, and so it helps kind of teach you
About the dyes.
things like about the dyes, and then things that are very typical to have the dyes in them, and then things that you have that are maybe substitutes that are similar to like say like fruit by the foot type things. I've got things that are similar that are healthier that don't have all the dyes and stuff. So
Yeah.
this is very interesting.
Out of concern. The European Union will most likely be banning Skittles at the end of the year, having already swapped out some of the dye for more natural flavors. This is because of something called titanium dioxide, which can be found making the colors pop across the rainbow. Research linked titanium dioxide to damaged DNA, which can lead to cancer.
Oh,
While
perfect.
Europe may be ahead of the Skittles awareness curve,
I like
America
Skittles,
is
too.
quickly catching
Yeah.
up. In May of 2021, the Environmental Working Group asked the FDA to categorize titanium dioxide as toxic.
Ooh.
And yes, before you ask, right now the FDA says it's okay to consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation.
Oh, stop
California
it.
is home to an ongoing lawsuit against Mars Inc., the parent company of Skittles. The lawsuit
no.
claims Skittles are not only toxic, but are unfit for human consumption.
Oh,
So maybe for now, play it safe. Just go have some Swedish fish instead.
Swedish fish are terrible, though.
Okay,
Bread.
enriched flavor or whatever.
Ever looked at a piece of crusty French baguette, be it in cartoon or in real life? But let's be honest, it was
It's like your
probably
favorite
in the
snack.
hands of
I
Pepe Le
know.
Pew, and think,
Pepe
I
Le
can't
Pew?
make a sandwich with that. As great as we talk about the invention of sliced bread, a lot of European countries have actually banned much of what you'd find on America's wide grocer shelves.
Yeah.
That's because we make a lot of our bread not just with grain, but with a variety snap packs worth of additives. Like azodicarbonamide, for example, which helps
Ooh.
bleach flour and strengthen dough. Fun fact about azodicarbonamide, it's also used in a spectrum of industrial products, including yoga
Perfect.
mats.
Oh, wow.
Downward dogs. The European Union is really against the idea of its citizens eating yoga mat material and has banned their use in
Fair.
food products.
Okay. Pork.
Pork, the other white meat, is a staple of American meats along with chicken, fish, and beef. From bacon to ham, hot dogs to pork chops. American meat eaters consume about
Ooh, that looks
67
good.
pounds of pig per person every year.
Oh, that's
Soo-wee, my heart is stopping.
that's
Don't
high.
get us wrong. Other nations indulge in swine just as much,
Children?
if not more, than Americans. So why doesn't the U.S. export scores of succulent bacon-bearing boars? Well, it turns out America adds a lot of chemicals during processing.
Of course.
Ractopamine in particular is used in many pig farms to raise porkier porkers. Ractopamine, which we put a dash of in
Fun fact.
Yeah.
I worked on a pig farm for 6 months. We didn't do like the butchering and stuff like that. I would cry, but I worked at the farrowing barn, which was like when they have the little piglets. We send the little piglets off, and it was my favorite because my boss loved me and he let me just pretty much play with the piglets all day long because I just thought they were the cutest things.
They are.
Smelled terrible though, and I had to shower like 6 times a day, not only for the smell, but because it was like a health thing, so you couldn't bring anything in with you and give them to the pigs and then they would all die and you didn't want to take anything home with you. So you'd have to shower going in and shower going out. And anytime you had to go in or out, you had to shower. So during the winter, when their feeding tubes froze, you'd have to go out there and beat it with the mallet. So you'd have to shower going out and shower going back in. So sometimes I showered 6 times a day.
Very interesting.
a lot of foods,
I didn't
has
know
been
that.
banned in 160 countries, which all consider the drug unsafe for human consumption. This, in turn, has led to a prohibition of pork exports across the world. The EU hasn't
Good.
touched the stuff since outlawing ractopamine in 2009. China and Russia have been ractopamine-less since 2013. Maybe that's because ractopamine has the same effects as an intoxicant on humans and can cause tachycardia, headaches, and muscle
Ooh.
spasms
So-
if consumed in large enough quantities.
I might be talking out my ass here, but I did read that, Americans were healthier in the 60s, 70s, and early 90s because the FDA changed the food group because there was a lot of like heart disease. So they were like, hold on, we got to change the food pyramid and we got to eliminate meats from our diet as much as like we've been consuming them. But our replacements to them were just like fattier foods and like more and obviously the food industry is a business, so it's going to try to do anything it can to increase its bottom line by even processing and stuff like making pigs fatter so that we can get more value out of that pig.
Yeah.
And so I think like the decisions that we made in the 70s, 80s, and 90s have led to A, we eat like crap, and 2, everything that we can eat, even like organic, not processed food, A, it's either like super expensive
Mhm.
and without like you can't it's not attainable for most people,
Mm-hmm.
or it's not real.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is like now we could say anything's organic
Mhm.
based on a couple of conditions, but like America's got like the highest obesity rate. Like back in the 80s, obesity wasn't a thing in children.
Yeah.
That was just like not a thing. And now it's like 1 in every 5 kid in America's got obesity and diabetes. And it's just, I purposefully think, tinfoil hat on, that we're trying to kill ourselves because
Probably.
it's like beneficial. So the medical industry and the healthcare system is a business, and its business is keeping people sick.
Yeah.
And then the food industry is a
Hashtag
business.
Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, hashtag pharmaceuticals. So we have a medical, healthcare system that's trying to kill us because it makes profits off of us while we're sick. And then you have another industry over here that's trying to cut its bottom line by feeding us all this bullshit. So it's tinfoil hat off.
There's a lot of really
That's mine.
tasty foods, but American foods are just overall garbage.
Garbage.
And yeah, you have to really be very fortunate to be able to eat organically
And-
regularly.
And in order to eat well in America, you have to have a PhD in like food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to get to know and navigate through our stupid system.
It's a full-time job.
It's ridiculous.
But it is a small price to pay for a perfect piece of the pork.
I don't eat pork that often.
Yeah, we
I
don't.
like it, but
We eat chicken a lot.
Hygiene
we
in
love
America often comes down to dousing stuff in a chlorine bath and calling it FDA approved, and chicken is no exception. Pathogen reduction
God.
treatments, or PRTs,
Hot
refer
wings
to
are
the
one of my
use of different
favorite
chemicals
foods,
to
too.
destroy harmful microbes on raw meat. Somewhere along the line, American food regulators decided a quick chlorine shock was the best way to kill salmonella and other bacteria on uncooked poultry.
wow.
Chlorine marinade. And look, it's not that the EU is against taking a long gulp from the public pool now and then. In fact, the risks
I hate
posed by
that.
chlorine consumption are relatively low. The bigger concern is that the chlorine baths are just an eye-burning band-aid on a larger problem. The tip of the beak, so to speak. They're worried that the PRTs are
Oh, that's sad.
insufficient to deal with more than just the normal bacteria and don't get at a potential contamination from things like low-quality feed to unsanitary coops on farms. The EU called the chlorine rinse an easy fix, arguing no chemical rinse will ever remove all bacteria from meat heavily contaminated as a result of poor hygiene. That hurts extra to hear it from the French.
Oh yeah, definitely Mountain
I
Dew.
can see Mountain Dew.
Yeah, 100%.
Mountain Dew is the closest any soft drink has come to being fully weaponized. But did you know in Austria and Norway, the soda is outright banned?
I think
would
it
That's
should be
believe
because
it.
banned.
Mountain Dew's
here.
signature Chernobyl radiant hue comes from tartrazine, also known as yellow 5. And if your ADHD hasn't kicked in yet, you'll remember that color and number from the Skittles section earlier.
Yep.
It's been linked to headaches, hyperactivity, and the desire to be annoying to other people. Ironically, the qualities that make Mountain Dew a soda non gratis in other countries is exactly what the brand promotes: a frenetic, over-caffeinated lifestyle. Do the
Everybody
do.
that I know that's obsessed with
Baja
Mountain Dew, that's how
Blast.
they are.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. And while you might be able to find Mountain Dew in Europe, it's going to hit a little different. That's because Europe spent exactly 2 years in the 90s riding the dew before discontinuing it. What is being sold as Mountain Dew in the EU has a recipe closer to the original carbonated beverage, as created by Tennessee beverage bottlers Barney and Ollie Hartman in the 1940s. The original Mountain Dew was meant as a whiskey mixer, with a name coming
Heck
from
yeah.
the affectionate Scottish term for moonshine. It'll tickle your innards, is what the old ads used to read.
Oh my gosh.
No lies detected here.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
I remember seeing an old
Yeah.
advertisement like on YouTube for that or something. It was funny.
Little Debbie has been providing
Good
Americans
night,
with
Little
comfort
Debbie.
snack food since the 1960s. With their variety of zebra cakes, star crunches, nutty bars, fudge rounds, and cosmic brownies.
The
But their
cosmic
big
brownies.
brownie
I love
fame, as anyone
cosmic
who has ever
brownies.
had their lunch packed
They're
by
so
a
terrible
parent
for you,
can
though.
attest, is the Little Debbie Swiss Rolls, a mixture of rich chocolate cake and butter creamy filling. Over 900 million cartons of Little Debbie products are shipped each year, but none of those cartons
on,
go
girl, I see your
anywhere
hand on
near
it.
Austria
thinking about
or
it.
Norway.
So when I went on my Europe trip a few years back,
Mhm.
I made some friends, And I have a friend in Ireland that after I got back and everything, obviously we kept in touch. And I asked him if there was anything, him and his mom and his sister, if there was anything that they wanted from America. And he wanted Twinkies so bad. He's like, I've always wanted to try a Twinkie. So apparently you can't find them there. So I mailed over a box of regular Twinkies. And then whatever time of the year it was, they had like a special one that had some sort of special flavor. So I sent over some Twinkies and I thought that was very interesting.
You mailed over a box of death.
Basically, hey, he asked for it.
That's what I'm learning here.
There's probably a reason he couldn't find them anywhere there.
Blame those rascally additives, yellow 5 and red 40. Swiss rolls contain 32 milligrams of dye per product.
Why,
In those
though?
quantities, they've been shown to have an adverse effect on children. And we're not just talking about causing hyperactivity, although one study found that
Okay, that's what I'm wondering is can they not just make these foods without all these dyes? Like Skittles,
They could.
sure, I understand it's like taste the rainbow, so you need all these colors like for a rainbow. But if you just rebranded it and changed some things and make it healthier, I mean, granted, people are still eating it the way it is anyway, but like just make it without all these dyes. I don't understand why they can't.
They can. I think it's the probably the appearance of the foods, right? So it wouldn't look as appetizing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
why else would you put a dye in a chocolate thing?
That's
right?
what I'm wondering, yeah, especially about chocolate because it doesn't have.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's just really bizarre.
I don't know.
Okay, sorry, I keep pausing so much.
cutting all artificial food coloring
It's our
from
video.
diets may be
Pause as
one
much as
half
you
as
want,
effective
baby.
as prescribing kids Ritalin. And while we can't prove there's a direct connection between artificial food coloring and cancer,
Swiss
they do
rolls.
cause damage to white blood cells, causing them to mutate after only 3 hours. Exposure to these
perfect.
dyes could cause tumor cells to multiply way more rapidly. For that reason, researchers say a high chronic intake of food colorings throughout the entire life is not advisable. If only they weren't so delicious. Surprisingly, you can buy Little Debbie's Swiss rolls in the EU, but they come with warning labels advising parents of the potential dangers to kids.
It's basically
Wow.
like
Cigarettes.
just like cigarettes.
No, Special K is the cereal that I eat.
When you hear the words banned breakfast cereal, you're probably imagining one of the countless kid-focused brands of sugary morsels.
Yes.
Like the oh-so-delicious Cookie Crisp. So you might be surprised to learn that it's actually Special K, the most boring cereal on all of the earth.
It
That has
is.
been banned in Denmark and discouraged in the EU. How does the healthiest box of flakes on the shelf get banned? While stuff like Reese's Puffs and Cinnamon Toast Crunch continue to enjoy free
I
passage.
thought for sure Fruit Loops would
Ironically,
be on here.
because of its supposed health benefits. In the UK, Special K has been put on blast by the Advertising Standards Authority for exaggerating how much folic acid they pack into portions. Though it's still legal to buy in Europe, Denmark has completely banned Special K since 2004 for all its fortified vitamins and minerals. Regulators argue that Kellogg's cereal's unnaturally high levels of everything from vitamin A to zinc actually qualify Special K as a genetically modified organism, or GMO. More specifically, Special K is swole with the same artificial compounds that studies have shown to potentially pose health risks, specifically to children and pregnant women. In conclusion,
Oh.
you may want to stick with crunch berries.
Okay. I definitely eat this while pregnant. That concerns me. I eat it now. I also eat sugary cereals, not super often. My go-to are Frosted Mini Wheats and then Special K. I like the almond Special K. And the reason I get that, it is because it is one of the healthiest cereals that you can get. And I thought I was
Supposedly.
doing great. Yeah.
You were tricked.
I was tricked. I was swindled.
And it's because of their advertising and their like whole marketing thing. Like that is just
It's definitely not like
False
the
advertisement.
tastiest cereal out there either. So I'm never like, I'm craving that because, like you said, it's
no one's
pretty
craving-
boring. It doesn't really have a lot of taste. I'm
Yeah.
like, I eat it because it's like a healthier option when I want cereal.
I don't eat cereal.
Hoodwinked.
Hoodwinked.
I thought for sure I would have like bet my left leg that Fruit Loops was going to be on this list.
No.
Never Special K.
And I like Fruit Loops. Like that's my go-to cereal if I eat cereal. If I'm craving cereal, Cocoa Puffs, right? But
Frosted Flakes.
it's like, man, how do you do this to cereal, you guys?
Yeah.
Like if oatmeal, you know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing is you think you're doing something good. That's why I said this is like a full-time job when we were talking about, foods in America.
Yeah.
Because you eat things that you think are really good for you and then come to find out somewhere down the road, you're like, oh, this isn't good for you. So I was doing this wrong the whole time. And then I feel like it's just a constant cycle of that.
And there's no stopping their advertising. They can advertise you whatever they want, but it's really cancer in a box. And that's
Yeah.
what like drives me crazy.
And there's
about the
things that are
FDA.
obvious that are not good for you, like cosmic brownies and things like that. But there are plenty of things that you think you're doing better. Like even if it's a healthier version of something else, you find out like it's got all these things in it that you're like, oh, this is not healthier at all. And sometimes even worse.
Even Diet Coke.
Yeah,
Diet
exactly.
Coke. Go ahead.
You may want to stick with Crunch Berries. Steak!
You don't need to take a transcontinental flight to visit countries that have banned American foods. Just drive up to the Canadian border, flash your passport, and sign an affidavit saying you're not smuggling any steak tartare in your trunk. Today, consuming raw meat has fallen out of fashion in the US, much like other foods like veal and pate, which don't make you sick but might make you sad. But while baby cow and overstuffed goose liver is illegal in parts of America now, tartare is
that
not.
was
See,
horrible.
while veal and pate may be uncool, they are also served hot.
I've
unlike
tried steak tartare.
which is chopped up cold meat straight from the cow. Undercooked or raw foods can lead to an increase in food poisoning and parasitic infections, especially in
Okay.
beef and poultry. But considering how fancy pants steak tartare is, Titanic food, one
Ew.
might say, you'd think countries might look the other way and let the luxury delicacy slide. And for a long time, they did.
That doesn't look
In
appetizing
Canada,
at all.
meat has to
It doesn't
reach
look
an
anything like
internal
that.
temperature of 145.
I definitely think that was pretty much just like raw hamburger patty. Steak tartare I've had, it's usually at like more high class restaurants. It's like a fine dining type experience. A lot of places don't have it. It is pretty much just like chopped up raw meat, but it's got other things in there with it. Not my favorite. I am a huge steak fan. I like my steaks medium rare, so I like them more on the undercooked side, but not like raw. You're like a medium well kind of guy.
Yeah, medium well.
I think that's pushing the line of sin, but
I don't care. It's healthier.
they also
Yeah.
have like tuna tartare. I've never heard he mentioned chicken. I don't think that's an actual thing, but
See, when they were saying tartar, I thought tartar, like tartar sauce or something like
it's a
that.
common misconception.
degrees Fahrenheit, the equivalent of a medium rare steak, in order to be considered safe to serve. But those rules aren't strictly enforced.
Like that's
That is
disgusting.
until recently. In
Mhm.
2021, restaurant owners in New Brunswick selling steak tartare were all served cease and desist letters.
Wow.
Canadian public health officials had decided that amid the ongoing health crisis of COVID-19, the last thing their citizens needed was a side order of botulism.
Fair.
We know about Coca-Cola.
Is there anything more American than Coca-Cola?
No.
The fizz,
Not really.
the flavor, the former secret ingredient, cocaine. Coke is basically apple pie in beverage form. And it's not just
True.
Americans who are cuckoo for Coke. Invented by a pharmacist in 1886 Georgia, Coca-Cola quickly caught on overseas. It was the World War II GI's drink of choice. Pre-pandemic, Coca-Cola had
Really quick.
Yeah.
Can you say Coca-Cola 3 times fast without your lips touching?
Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. Did I do it?
Let me see it again.
Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola.
Good job.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Now say Coca-Cola regular.
Coca-Cola.
Did your lips touch at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Wait. Coca-Cola. Yeah, no, it's Coca-Cola, you guys.
500 brands in over 200 countries, making it the best-selling soft drink and one of the most recognizable brands of all time. But there will always be exceptions. And unlike the other entries on the list, for once, it has nothing to do with health concerns. Everybody knows that Coke is not good for you. We just decided collectively that we don't care. No,
I'll still
the countries
keep
that have
drinking
outlawed
that
the brand have
garbage.
done so because of what it represents, a symbol of the encroachment of American capitalism. From 1962 to 2011, the U.S. banned sales of Coke to Burma as part of sanctions against the military junta that ruled the country until 2011.
Really?
You don't get
it
our
resumed
Coca-Cola?
sales in the country in 2012.
That's
Today,
funny.
Coca-Cola is only unavailable in 2 countries with long-term trade embargoes with the U.S., North Korea hasn't allowed Coke since 1950, and the bubbly beverage has been banned in Cuba since Fidel Castro ceased supplies in 1962.
Bullet dodger.
First the prequels, now Coke. Is there anything that can't be ruined by the federalization of trade taxation? In a twist of irony and lime, Cuba was actually one of the first bottlers of the beverage outside of America.
Wow.
Today, Cuba Cola has replaced Coke as the country's soft drink of choice, though black market sales abound. After all, it is the birthplace of the Cuba Libre, aka the rum and Coke.
M&M's.
So
All
I'm
those
gonna say,
dyes.
yeah, the dyes.
M&M's, the delicious melt-in-your-mouth, not-in-your-hand snacks, were originally a collaboration between the Scion sons of the Mars and Hershey dynasties in 1941. Like Coca-Cola, M&M's gained international fans during World War II, as American soldiers popularized the candy overseas as the chocolate that won't get your trigger finger all sticky. But you won't find the candy in Sweden, where it's banned due to a trademark conflict with a popular national candy that also features lowercase m's as its signature. When Mars
Peanut
introduced
M&Ms
the
are my
candy to
favorite.
Sweden in 2009, a court ruled its marketing too similar to that of the Norwegian Marabous, which resemble Kit Kats. During World War
No
I,
kidding.
Marabou had moved its manufacturing to its Swedish neighbors, where it received a royal warrant of appointment by the King of Sweden. And here we thought the Swiss were the chocolate snobs. Should you want to check out what the fuss is all about, Marabou's is sold in IKEA stores here in the U.S.
Ooh.
Well, at least it's good to know that M&Ms don't contain
Let's
any
go try
harmful
it.
dyes or
Yeah,
chlorine
that's
residue,
interesting.
right? That's a pretty important victory for hard-shelled chocolate. So what do you think? Which of these banned foods
Oh, okay, this is
sounds
about
the
to end.
most delicious? Let us know in the comments below. And
I
while
mean,
you're at
none
it,
of it,
check out
to
some
be
of these
honest
other
with you.
videos
Maybe
from Weird History
Maybe
Food.
steak?
Yeah, I can't go without steak. Okay, so since we're talking about like chocolate and stuff, I have a friend that lives in Australia, Paige.
Yeah.
And hi, Paige. And she actually just maybe like a week ago or said something about American chocolate tasting terrible.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. They were kind of discussing that a little bit. Because I was thinking about how he was talking about Swiss being chocolate snobs and stuff. I got to try some like chocolate while I was in Switzerland, and it is just so good. But yeah, she was like, American chocolate is so terrible. And I'm like, really? I think it's really tasty. But I'm sure, going out there and experiencing chocolate from other countries, that is much better, because that Swiss chocolate was just to die for. And I could see how it could put our chocolate to shame.
I hear you. I'm not really a big sweets eater. I'm very bland when it comes to food. But did you learn anything from this video?
Yeah. I learned that we needed to just move out of the country.
Okay. More realistically, so I think the cereal thing kind of caught me off guard, because again, the branding of the Special K.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like everything else. I kind of had an inclination
Yeah.
that it was bad for you. So
Absolutely.
it's like soda. We all know soda's bad for you, and we primarily just drink water here in this
Mhm.
household. I drink coffee and stuff like that.
Not big soda drinkers.
I'm not a big candy eater either, but I do
Mhm.
on occasions eat a lot of candy. Lil Debbie's, not really. I mean, whenever there's like, I don't want to say we've never bought it, because we have, but it's like rare
Yeah.
occasions that we've done that.
We do love the Cosmic Brownies, but
Yeah.
I think we've bought a box maybe 3 times in the past 4 years.
Oh yeah, it's like one of those things when you're just in the grocery store and you see them and you're like, do I want this?
It's been a while. It kind of
Yeah.
sounds good. I feel like eating garbage.
Yeah. Like, it's garbage, but it's the things that you don't think of that scares me. Like, we know that this is packed full of sugar, really probably unhealthy, so we just stay away. It's the ones where like our chicken and our beef and
Yeah.
things like that really just kind of scares me, because it's like, they're going to mislead you with your packaging. Sure, they have the nutritional facts, but if you don't know what you're looking for on those nutritional facts, it can look like a foreign language to you.
Well, exactly. All those names are long and they're
Yeah,
crazy
it's
sounding,
like,
and it's
what
like
the
you'd have to know what every single one of those are in order to know
Yeah.
if they're good for you or not.
So it really sucks that this is, and like the FDA is just rubber stamping the highest bidder as far as what they're approving and what they're not. So
Mhm.
it's like this corrupt organization that's keeping us sick, that's allowing us to eat these kinds of foods. And really, even if you were to home grow like your food outside, there's all these chemicals with your potting soil and all this shit. It's like you can't just get organic food anymore.
Pesticides, and people
Yeah.
don't use pesticides, but then you have to worry about this. Well, and that's the thing, is he was talking about, Gerbers. We just started our baby on purees. I did some organic carrots that I pureed up for him with some breast milk, and he got to try that. And that's the thing is, like, I knew that I wanted to make purees at home anyways because I know what's going into the stuff, but I just came across something that said that Gerber baby food had a lot of like lead and stuff in it. And after doing more research into that, I found out that like really doing your own purees organically is not that much better because there's all this lead and stuff in the soil and everything. So it's not that much healthier. And that's terrifying because it's like, it's
What do I
basically
do?
lose either way. One is just maybe a little bit worse, but it's like I'm still putting all this into my baby's system. So it's just very
It's horrible.
difficult.
So you guys, that was foods that are banned in other countries from America. Let us know if your country has any foods that are banned as well. Because I don't want to just shit talk America thinking that only American foods, because I'm sure like bigger established countries like the UK, Europe, everything that was listed here. I'm wondering if they also have questionable practices when it comes to food to feed, like how's your corn, right? So I'm curious to see if there's any other things that might be banned or might be like not so great to eat. Let us know down in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, again, this is a video for us that we wanted to do. Probably, if you like it, you like it, right?
I also want to know if you're in a different country, if there's anything on this list. Obviously, you have like beef and chicken and stuff like that, but otherwise, like, Little Debbie snacks, M&Ms, all those other types of things. If you're in a different country, if you've tried any of those and what you thought of them, and if you have something that is similar in your country, but maybe like without all the dyes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.